Hi everybody, welcome to Jewell Family Farm. Today I'm going to show you how to make a pumpkin pie. The recipe that I'm going to use is off of the Great Value pumpkin. It's a Great Value pumpkin pie recipe, and you get this pumpkin pie. It's 100% pumpkin. It's not the pumpkin pie mix. It's 100% pumpkin. So the only thing that's in this is pumpkin. In the can. That doesn't have any other ingredients, and so that's the recipe I'm going to show you how to make. Okay, so the recipe that I'm going to use for the crust is the recipe that I use all the time. So how this goes is 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, not self-rising, all-purpose flour, 1.5 cups. You put that in. Thing you put in is 1/4 cup of crisco or some kind of lard or vegetable shortening. Little pieces of it. Makes it mix up better. Now for this recipe, you can also use a store-bought crust. You don't have to make your own crust. About 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and then we're going to use 1/2 stick of butter, and it has to be nice and cold. This just came out of the refrigerator. I just took it out. Alright, first things first. So we got 1/4 cup of crisco in here, vegetable shortening. You're going to pulse this 4 times. Alright. I'm going to add 1/2 stick of butter. I'm going to cut it up into pieces. You could go ahead and cut this up and put it into a bowl if you want to do it that way. Doesn't matter. We're going to pulse that 4 times. Okay. Then we're going to add 1/4 cup of ice water. The water has to be really, really cold. Let's see if I can get it in here. So put your lid on. We're going to turn this on. When it comes up into a bowl like this, it's done. Easy, easy, easy. And all you do is get you a piece of saran wrap. Piece of saran wrap off. Plastic wrap, whatever you would. I just call it all saran wrap. I don't know, what the brand is on it or anything. Alright, so you just take this out. Be careful you don't cut yourself on you. But look how nice that is. Okay? Take that thing out so you don't cut yourself. Take all your dough out. Okay? All you're going to do is you're just going to kind of put it in the bowl, kind of flatten it out a little bit, cover it up, And you're going to put this in the refrigerator until we get the filling made. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to make the pie filling. So what we want to do is we want to crack 4 eggs. Now these are farm fresh eggs, so I like to crack them in here because sometimes I don't know why little pieces of grain get in the egg, so I want to be able to get that out. Plus I just, don't want to put an egg that's got any kind of something kind of wrong with it. And that's the same with store-bought eggs too. If you're going to bake, you need to crack them into a bowl to make sure that they don't have any weird stuff in them. Like this. It won't hurt you. There's nothing wrong with it, but I just don't like it in there. I'm going to take it out. Very hard to catch. See? A little piece of something. I don't know what that is. But I don't want that in there. Alright, so we're gonna slightly beat these up. Okay. Alright, so then we're going to add 1.5 cups of sugar. We're going to beat that up. Now 1 teaspoon salt. I'm going to start adding our spices. So this is where I'm going to stray away from the actual recipe that's on the back of that because it calls for a lot of cinnamon, and I want to add in the pumpkin pie spice. So this part is going to be a little bit different than the recipe. Alright, so pumpkin pie spice. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons. Kind of hard to catch it. 2 teaspoons. Then for the cinnamon, I'm going to put 1 teaspoon. And then for the cloves, I'm only going to put 1/4 teaspoon because cloves is very strong and it will dominate everything. So this is 1/2 teaspoon, so I'm going to put 1/4 teaspoon of cloves. All right, mix this up. Alright, now it's time to add the pumpkin in. And this is a big can of pumpkin. Let's see how many ounces is this. This is 29 ounces. I know it's backwards. You can't see it very well. It's 29 ounces. It's a large can. So it's really, as you can see, there's nothing there, but it's just cooked pumpkin. I used to make my own pumpkin. I would cook down the pumpkin and, you know, grind it up and freeze it. But this is easier. I do this now. There's not enough time in the day anymore to do all that. I used to grow pumpkins. Okay, we're going to mix that up. Now we're going to add some evaporated milk. This is the canned milk. Some people call it canned cream. That's what we always called it, but the correct name is evaporated milk. And you could buy the Carnation, or you could buy the Great Value brand, but don't get the non-fat, because it's not good. It won't taste good in this pie. So let's see. We need 2 cups of that. Alright, so we need 2 cups of evaporated milk. You can use whole milk if you want. I think it calls for whole milk on this recipe, or milk, but I've always used canned milk, and that's just what I'm used to using. So we're going to add 2 cups of milk in there. Evaporated milk. Now, like right now, I don't have any milk in the house right at the moment, but if I did, I would add some just regular milk out of the refrigerator instead of opening this other can. At least I don't think I have any milk. No. So you just open this other can of evaporated milk, and you could put this in a pint jar, a canning jar, and put it in your refrigerator. And you can use it for your milk. You can use it in your coffee to use it up. All right, turn it on. Do it slowly, because all this milk's gonna fly out if you don't. You cannot store anything in cans in your refrigerator. You have to put it into something else if you're going to keep anything that you've gotten out of a can. It has to be put into some other kind of container, like a Tupperware or a jar. kind of stir it up. Make sure that it's off of the, around the bottom of the bowl, so that all your sugar and everything, you know, gets incorporated. Now you can add more spices to this. This is to taste, pretty much. Like, I think I'm going to add some more pumpkin pie spice to it, because you can kind of smell it, and you can kind of judge off the smell how much more, you know, if you want to add more spices or not. That's up to you. It doesn't hurt it. Just don't put a whole lot in there. I would add maybe a half a teaspoon at a time until it gets to, you know, the way that you think that you might like it to be. Okay, so now get our pie shells done. All right, we're going to do our pie shells now. Okay, so I still have my mixer on over there. So first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your countertops are extremely clean. Use hot soapy water to wash them off, because you're going to roll your pie dough out on this, or you might have there's mats that you can buy. I don't like the mats because for me they slip too much and it takes me twice as long. And when you make as many pies as I make, I was making 30 pies a week, and you know, I don't have time to spare. So anyway, I'm going to get some water on this and wash it off a little bit. So I'm going to get my rag. I just got all the soap and everything out of it. So this is fresh water on this, and I'm going to just make sure that it's good and clean. And then I'm going to dry it with paper towel. Otherwise, your pie crust is going to stick. It's going to get soggy, and it's going to be yucky. Alright, so make sure this is good and dry. Alright. Get my pie shell out. I didn't put it in the freezer for those few minutes that we were making the filling. I just wanted to get as cold as I possibly could. This will make 2 pies. Now this might make a little bit more. These are 8-inch pie shells. I usually make 9-inch, but I ran out of my 9-inch pie plates, so these are 8-inch. So I have a feeling I have a little bit of leftover filling, but that's okay. You can put it in a little dish and bake it up anyway. All right, let me get a knife. All right, so we're going to make 2 pies out of this. I'm going to cut this in half. Let me get the camera fixed. Okay, I'm going to cut this in half. It's going to make 2 pies. That might be okay. Set that aside. We're going to roll this into a disc as best that we can, because when you start rolling it out, you kind of want it in a round shape. All right, let me get my rolling pin. All right, I'm going to put a little bit of flour down here. And if you want to, while you're making this pie shell, you can wrap this one back up and stick it back in the freezer just to make sure that it stays good and cold. while you're working on this one. Keeps the butter in it cold, makes it more flaky. Alright, you want to put a little bit of flour on your rolling pin. Yes, this is a huge rolling pin. It saves me a lot of work. My daughter bought it for me and I love it. Flip it over, just kind of go out, down this way and out that way. You flip it over and you do this. Just keep doing that until it gets out as big as you want it to fit in your pie shell. Now, just remember when you're making pumpkin pies or anything that has a filling that's not going to have a top on it, you have to make it big enough that the sides come up so that the filling don't run out. And I'll explain that to you once we start putting this pie together. Pies that have a top, like apple pies, you seal those around the edges and the stuff doesn't come out. But pumpkin pies are different. All right, so you just pick it up, put it in your pie pan, try to get it even on all sides, around the sides here. All right, let me get a fork. You're just gonna put a few holes in there, just not many though, because you know you don't want it to fall out, but you want to be able to steam up through there. Okay, so there's that pie shell. All right, let me get this stuff here. All right, stir it up. That's what it looks like. Alright, the easiest way that I have found to do this is to pour it in a big, this is a quart or 4-cup measuring cup. Alright, so let me fix my pie shell. Alright, so here's what you're going to do with this pie shell. You're going to make it stand up. So you want it to be up high like this. Because you want the filling not to come out. So just take this and fold it in, just to give it a high side. If this is your first time making a pie, it doesn't matter. Just fold it back and just, you know, it doesn't have to be gorgeous, but it needs to be big enough so that the inside stays, the filling stays inside the pie. And make sure you kind of mash it down around these edges, okay? Just keep doing that until you get around there. Okay, make sure that it's high. Okay? Now there's a couple things that you can do. You can just leave it like this, or you can kind of like take your 2 fingers and take this finger and kind of just mash it around a little bit, like that, just to give it a little scalloped edge. Or any finger, whatever finger works best for you. You just want it to stand up. This is how I do it. There's other ways you can do it, I'm sure, but this is the way I do it. Alright, so it just kind of stands up like that. Alright, so then all you're going to do is you're going to pour your pie filling in. Okay, that's probably enough. That's about 2 cups worth of pie filling right there. So I'm going to have quite a bit left over because I have 2 cups left and I had all this left over. If you have a bigger pie pan, you probably need a 9-inch pie pan, but this is all I had was this. So a 9-inch pie pan will probably make it so that you'll use all of your leftovers out of here into that pie. Alright, there's one. I'm going to pour a little bit of this cream in here. You can use milk, you can use beaten egg whites, you can just use water, or you can use butter, but I like to use milk. If you have people that have milk allergies, maybe best not to, but you just go around the edges like this. It just helps it to brown up. Plus I'm going to put some sugar on it to make it look festive and pretty. Alright. Alright. And that's it. Alright, let me get the other one out. We'll do it one more time. So they both can bake at the same time. Alright, it's nice and cold. It's been in the freezer. It's got to split like this. Just turn it up on its end. Kind of mash it down that way. You want these ends around here not to be so cracked. Kind of mash them together. Mash it on top. Takes a little bit of work. Alright, let me get some flour. Put some flour on my rolling pin again. Okay, we're going to start. You kind of start in the middle and just kind of work it out and then work it back. Just kind of roll it a little bit just to get started. It just takes the stuff out of the middle and pushes it out to the edges instead of having a big lump of it right here. It kind of pushes it out that way and pushes it out that way. So I can feel that there's a big lump on that side. You flip it over. But that's what I'm doing when I'm doing this right here. I'm trying to get it where it pushes out and then pushes down this way. You remember what you used to do when you played with Play-Doh. Working it so you think it's big enough to fit in your pie pan and to have some good edges on it. But look how nice that is. I mean, it just comes right up. It doesn't tear or anything. It's a good pie crust. Just mash it down with your hands. Okay, and then you start folding it under. See, it just folds under right to that lip, right in there. That's a little bit short. You could pull a little piece of that off and stick it in there where it's short, and it makes it thicker and more sturdy. See that? Can't believe that it's almost October. I cannot believe that Christmas and Thanksgiving is right around the corner. It's crazy how time flies, especially after you retire. It really flies. You think it flies when you're, you know, young. I mean, not young, when you're older, but when you retire, the days go by so fast. Okay. Put a couple of holes down in here. So we're going to make the edges. This one didn't have as much crust as the other one. You can do it that way too. There's all kinds of ways you can do it. Try to get it up, try to get it as high up as possible. See, that makes a different kind of edge. And also, you can just turn it under here and use your fork and kind of mash it down like that on the edges. I didn't want to do that because I want to make this scalloped edge, but just don't mash it down too much or your edges won't be tall enough. Okay, so there's that one. You can keep moving it up a little bit to make it taller. Okay. All right. You just pour this in. Where did my spatula go? I think we can put some more in there. Yay. This makes a good dessert, like for the kids, if you know, without the crust too. You want to just put it in some kind of little, like these little things here that are oven safe. You can put it in, you butter it or spray it with Pam or whatever you want, and then pour some in there. I'll probably do that in a few minutes if I have some left over. All right, that's about as far as I want to go with that. All right, let's put some milk around this. All right, I'll sprinkle some sugar on it to make it look pretty. Wipe my hands off. This is bigger sugar. It's not like table sugar. It's decorative sugar. I get it online off of Amazon. All right, and then that one's done. Then what we're going to do is we're going to stick them in the oven. Let me show you first of all. I put them on, a foil, on a pan with foil, because they do overflow sometimes, so you might want to do that. So we got the oven set at 400 degrees. I think on the bottom, on the recipe it says 425. I think that's what it said. Let me see. Okay, so I've got the pies out of the oven. I can't pick up pies with pot holders. All right. Let's see. get this other thing that I made. So here's this other little dessert that I made. Let's see what it tastes like. It's probably really hot still. Let's see, I think I'll get some off this end. It looks really good. I can't figure it out. I think you do need to add a few more spices to it. It's really good, but I really believe it needs more cinnamon and more pumpkin pie spice, but that's just my opinion. All right then, well that's it. That's all, you know, the pies are done. That's all I wanted to show you all today. So hope you enjoyed this, and hope you make these pies. You know, it's not hard to make a crust. You've seen how easy it was. The other thing is I wanted to tell you that if you're going to buy your crust, make sure you buy the deep dish, and that way your pie crust, your filling should stay in your pie crust just fine. All right, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, share the video, and count your blessings. We'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, one more thing. Next video is going to be an apple pie, so come back for that. All right, bye.